Hello everyone, this is the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage. I recently posted a video of this machine. You are looking at the Singer 201 Centennial. This is my latest Singer 201 restoration project. Anytime I have the opportunity to get a 201, I always do. They are one of the most sought after machines by people who are looking for vintage models. And there's a reason. You've heard me talk about them. I gush over these machines. And I'm not a heavy full-time sewer. I'm a sewing machine restorer. But people who sew with these, those are the people who, you can go online and look at what people think of the 201 and you'll see what I mean. That they are really the best proponents of this particular model. Now, of course, the Singer 201 that you're looking at is a Centennial. It was a mint fresh machine when I got it, and but I think I mentioned to you all in other videos before. When you're looking for a vintage sewing machine, you might see a machine in a thrift shop, and it might be beautiful and gorgeous like this. I actually got this from an estate, but no matter where you buy it, you might see a machine and think, "Oh, that's perfect." Other times you'll see sewing machines that might be scratched and dirty and missing parts and need new cords and all that. None of those things determine whether a machine is mechanically okay. In other words, you can take a machine and take care of all those problems I just described, and it could sew beautifully. And you can find a machine like this one, which is just aesthetically gorgeous, and sometimes it needs overhauling. And so when I buy a machine, no matter where I get it, I take it through the full overhaul restoration process. It doesn't matter if it's beautiful, and it doesn't matter if it's dirty and grimy and what have you, because you need to do that. These machines are vintage models. They were built in a way that nothing is made like anymore, but they still need to be serviced because they were designed for that. And you guys hear me, I sound like a broken record sometimes, but I want to emphasize that to you. If you are shopping for a machine and you see one that looks pretty, as this one is, this machine got the same full restoration I give to every machine, and they all require it. And now this machine is ready for a new lifetime of sewing service. Just a great testament to a once fantastic brand of machine. Now, what have I got here? I have a Singer 201 Centennial. Of course, it was the limited edition, but mechanically it's similar to all the other 201s. It comes in a gorgeous mahogany table. This machine sat in the same home in climate control comfort since 1960, and it was being sold as an estate was being settled, and it has been treated with tender loving care all its life. But still, it got to, I took it through all of the processes that I give every machine. I want to basically go through every section as I have to make sure that it is ready, and this one is. So, without further rambling, I will go ahead and show you all the gorgeous stitches that it makes. I've got some lightweight cottons here. These machines are very powerful. You can sew heavy fabrics with them. They will even take extra large needles if you want. But most of the people, many people who buy 201s, they buy them because they like the extra inch of room width that you get between the needle and the machine pillar. They love the quality of the stitch. And again, many people have extolled the virtues of this machine. So, of course, this one, like all of them, has a light. And for those of you who see the listing on Kijiji, you'll see an exhaustive list of things that I did to restore the machine. One of those, in this case, was replace the light bulb. It has a new light bulb, but that's just one of many things. That's one of the more simple things I did to the machine. Anyway, I have installed a new Organ brand size 14 needle, and we've got a little pink silk thread up here. So I will, without hopefully bumping into my own camera, go ahead and show you how she sews. Now, as I've mentioned, some of you may be new to Singer 201s or vintage sewing machines. Those of you who have watched my videos on my channel know this already, but I never like to assume that, you know, everyone knows what I'm talking about. The Singer 201 is one of several Singer vintage machine models that had what's called a rotary hook. And what that means is that the shuttle, the part that's forming the stitch underneath, spins constantly. It keeps rotating. And that is different than an oscillating hook. They are both awesome, they are both strong, and they both have their strong suits. But for the quality of the stitches that people look for, whether you're a quilter or a garment sewer, or maybe you're just someone who really loves high quality stitches, the Singer rotaries are some of the finest ever made. I would put them up against any machine from Italy or Germany, easy. Now what I did was I just made a long straight stitch here, and I'm going to pull this up in a minute and show all of you the stitches. I should have some good light today, hopefully that'll show. And I'm going to adjust my stitch length lever, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to make one of those beautiful tight short length stitches that the Singers are, I think they really are probably better at than any other machine, although the white rotaries are not too shabby either. Now I can sew quickly, but I'm going to slow it down because Singers in particular have this wonderful quality of slow needle control. And look what I'm doing. I have an incredible control over this needle and the speed, and that is with the Singer carbon pile button style foot pedal. So that's analog. That's not an electronic or digital type pedal, guys. And it's just remarkable. And very quiet. It's one of the quietest sewing machines I've ever come across in my years of doing this. In fact, the only sound that I'm really hearing is the thread spool up here as it wiggles on the spool pin. So let's take this out, and I'll just show you what this beautiful machine was capable of. So let's take a look. First of all, we're going to look at the top row of stitches. Let's make sure this focuses in, otherwise that's not very helpful. The top row is the long stitch length, and there's a lot of adjustment going on that you can make. And then just below it is the row of short stitches. It almost looks like cording. It is so tight. And I think I could even get them tighter, but I wanted to make sure they would show up on camera. And again, you know, you're looking at a machine that truly, again, they just do that straight lock stitch, and people who have these know how they sew. You can get similar stitches from the Singer 301 and the Singer Featherweight, and they both share a different bobbin system, but they still have that rotary mechanics that allow for that incredible stitch control. So again, and what I'll do here is I'll fold this over, and now I'll have 4 layers. And again, that's nothing for a vintage machine, any vintage machine, including this one. But I'll go ahead and do that and set that up, and we'll do another run here. Okay, guys, I've got the stitch sample you saw here, and I'm going to take it and I folded it over. That's 4, and I'll go ahead and fold it over again. We'll have 8. Again, this is a lightweight cotton. 8 layers of this is no big deal for any vintage machine, including the 201. And the other thing to mention to you, when you're looking at a sewing machine, you're saying, well, what is quality, and what are some of the advantages of vintage machines? Well, one of them is, because of their strength and their engineering, the way they were created, they have the ability to maintain their stitch tension or their thread tension. So you can go over multiple densities without your stitches being thrown off. And a lot of new machines can't do that, especially the real cheap new ones. They're really sad and pathetic excuses for sewing machines, in my very humble opinion here. So I'm going to go ahead and going to try to squeeze in here. I'm a tall guy. I don't want to bump into the camera, but we'll do a little sewing here with what is essentially 8 layers of this lightweight cotton. By the way, on any of these machines, including this one, you can sew more quickly. And this lightweight material is not really going to interrupt anything as far as the machine's sewing goes. So here's the 8 layers of the lightweight cotton. And again, you see the pink silk thread there on the top, and I'll show you the backside. Underneath, you see there's a white thread. That's my bobbin thread, just to show you the other side there. Now, let's see. I'm going to take this. A lot of times you guys see me talking about the 201s and the 301s and the featherweights because they are so wonderful and they're very popular for people who sew light to medium weight fabrics. You might think, oh, well, I can't sew heavy. Oh, yes, you can. But there are a lot of vintage sewing machines that can sew heavyweight material. Again, one of the advantages of the 201 is it has a whole extra inch of width between the needle and the pillar of the machine. And that's useful when you're sewing larger items. Now, I went and got this. This is some heavier cotton from a pair of cargo pants. And you'll see this is where they created a seam here. And I just wanted to show this because I like people to know that they have a lot of flexibility with what they're sewing. Okay, so I've got 2 layers, and then I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3. I'll have 4 layers where you see those seams in there, and then I'll fold it over again. That will give us, what are we getting here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, there should be a total, no, 8. So there should be a total of 8 layers here. I'm working again with a size 14 needle. For those of you who are going to sew heavy fabrics, I always recommend using anywhere from a 16 to an 18 needle size, and you'll want to use something like, I would prefer personally to use a jeans needle. The jeans needles are just a little beefier. This needle will be fine, but again, if you're going to do a lot of that heavy fabric sewing, you'll make any machine's job will be a little easier if you do that for it. So here I am. I'm coming right across. Make sure I'm feeding my fabric properly, and I'm probably going to lighten my foot pressure just a bit there. And of course you have back tacking on this machine. Most vintage machines have reverse going all the way back to the 1930s. But if you have a machine that doesn't have reverse, it's not a big deal. I have never found it to be an issue one way or the other. Okay guys, we just went through 8 layers of this heavier cotton fabric. And notice when you see this is my own undoing here. I puckered the fabric, the machine didn't do it. If you look at the stitch, as it comes across, remember where those seam folds are. Notice that the tension is consistent. One of the signs of a high quality sewing machine is that you don't get weird tension and issues in your stitches when the density of the fabric changes when you're going over seams. Let's look at the other side here, and you'll see there is the bobbin thread and looking beautiful. So there you go. What can I do? I can always try folding it over again. One of the reasons I do this is I want people to see just how flexible a machine like this is. And one thing to also remember is as you get into thicker material, and this is still fitting under the foot, you don't want to put anything so thick that it won't fit under the presser foot, because then it can't really chew on what you're giving it, and that's not really fair to the machine, and it won't like it, and neither will you. Okay, I'm going to start with my needle down. That's always useful. I'll do the reverse so you guys can see the back tacking. And again, I'll show you what these beautiful stitches look like. Now, let's see here. So here is the pink thread. That top line is that's the top thread, the pink that I just sewed. And that is, how many did I say I had? I've lost count. Sorry, guys. If you include the seams, I think we're past 12 layers. Maybe you guys can help me remember. Anyway, look at the bottom stitches. They are gorgeous. They're balanced. And that's how a machine you should have that flexibility with any sewing machine. So, if you are interested in seeing this really, truly, I call it a time capsule because it's rare that I get a machine that's been in the same place for 60 years, right? Or 59 years. We're in 2019. And it was just remarkable. I looked at it and I went to see it, and I happened to ask the people who were selling it on the estate. It belonged to their parents, and I said, how long has it been here? And they said, well, they moved in 1960. And I thought, wow, that's really incredible. It's not the first time I've gotten a machine that was in the same family that long, but you know what? It doesn't happen every day. So this was a special treat for me. And it was also a chance for me to explain to those of you who are thinking about getting a machine that you want to restore is whether they're beautiful or whether they're, kind of rough looking, you always want to go through your machine and make sure it's ready. Make sure it's had the service. Now, for whoever decides to purchase this machine, the great thing is because all the restoration work's been done, all you have to do is clean your feed dogs every once in a while like you would on any machine. And at the beginning of each project, you'll take your oil, sewing machine oil, and you will put oil in each one of the little holes in the top here. And I forgot to mention that this machine comes with, I think you'll see me highlight this in the first video I did showing you when I first found this machine. This machine comes with a number of accessories. It has a gorgeous box, the original sewing machine box, and it has the manual, and that manual is incredible. It looks brand new. It looks like somebody went to the Singer dealer in 1952 and brought it home. And that's not something I can say often. Now, you don't need a machine that looks this gorgeous in order to have a great vintage machine. But some people care. Aesthetics matter. They matter more to some folks than others. I appreciate you all watching. I try to give it my all when I restore these machines. I go into the details. I clean them in places that people don't even see. I will pan down here. You'll see I've actually gone over this beautiful mahogany table with the Howard's, the feed and wax. I even reconditioned the tables. This one is gorgeous anyway, but I just wanted to give it a little polish. And then down here in the drawer, which has a few of these beautiful vintage bobbins. I even put a little spot of grease on a hinge pin here to make the drawer close properly. So again, when you have something this wonderful and well made, I just feel like it needs to be given the care that it deserves. And that way, when someone gets this machine and decides to sew with it, you have something. You have something that is truly an heirloom piece of equipment. Thank you all for watching. I never tire of making videos and restoring Singer 201s. I have a lot of favorite machines. You all know how much I love the Italian Neckies. I love the white rotaries. I love all of them, obviously, or I wouldn't work on them. But the 201 for the right sewer is one of the most amazing pieces of equipment you will ever own. And no one makes them new anymore. Fortunately, we have a lot of vintage versions that we can take and we can overhaul and get ready for a new life for sewing work. Take care, everyone, and we will see you in the next video.